Peace, infinite waters diving deep once again. Life-changing true life facts about fear. Can I get a hello there? So there's a spaceship in the sky. 3 people see it. The first one says, get me out of here, and starts running as fast as they can. The second person sees it and says, thank goodness, the aliens are here. No more work. Whee! And the last person sees it and says, whatever. So each person is interpreting fear in a different way. And I've seen along my journey that fear has been the biggest roadblock in becoming my greatest version. And once you start going into fear, knowing what fear is, now you become super powerful. So I remember going to my cousin's house, and as soon as I arrived, there would be a dog there. And the dog would be barking so loud. And the secret was just to be still. But a lot of us, as soon as the dog was barking, coming up to us, we started to run away. The faster we ran, the faster the dog would run. But if you stayed still, the dog would just go around you. And now you could just stroke it. You were freed from fear. So the science tells us that fear is coming and emanating from a stress hormone called cortisol from the adrenal glands, and that gives rise to the fight or flight. Okay, we know that. But I've discovered even more life-changing facts about fear, which have really changed my life for the better. It starts with a story actually yesterday. I was coming back from the beach and my bike was there. I was sitting down and the woman next to me was reading, and I looked at the book. And the book was How to Own Your Shadow. And I thought, wow, this synchronicity is all around us. We got talking, and it is amazing because fear is linked to our shadow. A lot of us don't want to own our shadow. We talk of the dark side. And she was saying how without darkness, you could not see the stars. And I said, that is so true. So let's start with, once you identify your fears, I've seen this allows you to become your greatest version. Once you are aware of the triggers, the subconscious filters we have. For instance, this fear of no, don't do that. Where did it come from? Well, maybe growing up, we realized that if we said no, parents would try to force us to say yes. But as babies, we are fully honoring our shadow. We're screaming, we're kicking up a fuss because it is all about full expression. But as we go through life, we realize we can't do that. So we get afraid of expressing our true authenticity. So once you begin to identify your greatest fear, now you can become more in peace with yourself. There are so many filters we have, programs running around like little children. And a lot of us, we're just moving all the time, 24/7 lifestyle. But I've seen once you slow down, move in your body, whether it's through meditation, you become centered, grounded. Now you can see where the fear is coming from. Because to deal with fear, you have to see where it is coming from and how it started out in the first place. The second life-changing fact that has helped me is to embrace your fear or your shadow. What happens when you say fear is negative? You see, right now on the planet, a lot of people want to be positive. I want to be positive. No one wants to be negative. But you see, fear also has a great benefit. Fear will make you leave your job you've been in for 25 years that is making you feel pretty darn miserable. So fear can give us strength. Fear can awaken us to a greater truth, a greater reality. And once again, fear is coming from our subjective experience. Our perception, I've seen, is our reality. But just like our shadow side, once you embrace that dark side, you realize it is equally as important as our so-called light side. So the secret I've discovered, a big secret, is not about being in resistance to fear, because resistance makes stronger. So you've got a fear about approaching people. So what do? You run. But you see, now the fear increases. But once you start to take the first step in building up the confidence to say hello, now this fear begins to disappear. What has changed in that situation? It is not the circumstance, it is our beliefs about the circumstance, in essence, our perception. So it's all belief systems. Now we become powerful beyond measure because we realize the only thing to fear is fear itself. Now, I was afraid of making videos for a long time ago. I moved closer towards my fear. Now it's a walk in the park. So whenever we run away, whenever we are in denial, we create a shadow. And right now, it's all about letting love guide you, not fear. Another life-changing true fact about fear, I've discovered that once you take off your holier than thou robe, everything changes. Fear doesn't have a chokehold over you anymore. Because you see, fear will make you wear clothes because you feel those are the right clothes to wear, and then you take the clothes off. So why did you wear them in the first place? You see, that is what fear will make you do. Because so many of us, we are trying to live up to expectations from family and friends. We all want to look the part. But you see, the greatest part of owning your shadow is to realize You weren't born to be perfect. You were born to be real. And that means you don't have to be perfect. You can be anything you want. And if someone else has a problem with that, that is their own issue. Many times also, we project our fears onto other people. Have you ever been in a conversation with someone and they tell you, I'm scared for you, I'm worried for you? I'm like, don't bring that worry over here. Move it away from me. Because you see, if you don't deal with your unresolved issues, now you start projecting your fear onto other people. Once you are peaceful, you also project that onto other people. Once you are a very loving person, you project your love onto other people. You see, when you're nervous, you feel other people are nervous, but that nervousness is emanating deep from your core. Taking off your holier than thou robe is about exposing yourself. And a great life-changing fact I've discovered about fear is that once you are open and vulnerable, fear diminishes. You see, it's not about whether or not fear is good or bad. It is about how is fear serving you to become your greatest version. You see, many times we don't want to be vulnerable. You may have a fear of getting into a long-term relationship. Maybe a fear of commitment because you don't want people to see your vulnerable sides. You may have a fear of talking about your job that you don't like, that you don't have enough money, because you don't want to be seen as someone who is complaining. But once again, once you start expressing yourself 100%, this fear is not negative. This fear is actually a suppressed voice, which is now coming to the surface, in essence, freeing us. We become that butterfly, our life is transformed. Also, I've discovered that fear is related to equilibrium. I talk about moving into the body because the body is the subconscious mind. Anybody that plays the guitar knows that once you place your finger on a string to pluck it, that is tension. Once you release your finger, that is release. If you do yoga, you are also involved in that process of tension and release. If you are a weightlifter, there is tension and release. That is balance. And that is what helps us know more about how fear works. You see, it is wonderful to be positive, but it is also wonderful to embrace the so-called negative parts of yourself, which are really just the suppressed parts of yourself which you are ashamed about, you're embarrassed about. But embrace it. Sometimes people are afraid of people seeing their true colors. But you see, once you can say, okay, I can smile today, I can also be sad today, I can be angry today. When you remove all judgment from yourself, fear disappears and you move into a greater equilibrium, a greater homeostasis. Music can help us alleviate anxiety, panic. Physical exercise can help us reduce those cortisol levels. Social connectivity, meeting people. You see, how many times have you met someone and had preconceived ideas about who they were? Oh, they're like this, they're like that. You start talking to them and you realize it's a whole nother story. So assumptions make bad conclusions. Analysis is paralysis. Fear is the freeze frame. So once you start moving, fear disappears. Now check this out. When a deer is running away from a lion, they're getting that fight or flight. This is how intelligent the body is. Now, the intelligence of the deer is to run as fast as it can away, because by running, the deer is moving into physical activity, therefore reducing the cortisol levels, therefore reducing the stress. But what about if we could get into that state without even running? What if we could change our beliefs about what we are afraid about and realize there is nothing to be afraid about? What if we stepped into our greatest power today? Not just talking about roses and butterflies, but also anything that brings us closer to our true authenticity. Those are the life-changing, true facts I've discovered about fear, which has helped me become my greatest version. What are yours? We are here. Have a wonderful day. Infinite waters, diving deep once again. Stay well. Stay healthy. Peace.